Welcome to this explainer. Look, today we're jumping right into a high-stakes strategic briefing. We're decoding the critical shifts coming at us in the 2026 energy landscape, pulling directly from the latest Project 54 dossier. This is a declarative, entirely evidence-led look at what it actually takes to survive and scale in this new era. It's about precision, premium execution, Project 54, revenue architecture, engineered. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so here's our flight path for today. We're hitting 5 strategic directives. We'll kick things off with the executive reality and the valuation trap, and then we'll pivot into commercial infrastructure, the evidence matrix, and finally, the actual predictable growth mathematics.
All right, Directive 1, Executive Reality, and what we call the rep-free mandate. We really have to start with the immediate, glaring danger that's threatening traditional revenue models in the energy sector right now.
61%. That undeniable metric right there dictates our entire new reality. Literally, 61% of B2B buyers now mandate a rep-free, digital self-service procurement experience. Just think about that for a second. The vast majority of your buyers absolutely do not want to talk to a human being during their critical evaluation phase. So, what does that actually mean for us? It means legacy relationship-based sales models aren't just outdated anymore, they're a massive structural liability in 2026. If you're still relying on human reps during that anonymous research phase, you are completely invisible to modern, engineering-led buying committees. They've already made up their minds before a meeting is ever even booked.
And look, this is all happening against a pretty unforgiving economic backdrop. In 2026, we're looking at Brent crude averaging roughly $60 a barrel, with global oil supply actively outpacing demand growth. Translation? Extreme capital discipline is required. The days of speculative spending are over. Elimination is mandatory. And with digital channels now influencing 40% of marketing spend, moving to engineered digital growth systems is quite literally the only viable way to survive those early-stage supplier evaluations.
Which brings us to Directive 2, Structural Liabilities, or more specifically, the valuation trap. We really need to address the severe regulatory risks of failing to digitize appropriately.
This is a glaring disconnect we're seeing, the 9-to-1 valuation trap. This happens when an energy organization dumps $9 into legacy hydrocarbons for every $1 invested in low-carbon tech, all while projecting this completely unsubstantiated green digital presence. It's a massive red flag.
The real vulnerability here is narrative decoupling. When your physical assets, your actual CapEx, don't align with your digital signals and public narrative, you're opening yourself up to massive financial exposure. This kind of misalignment triggers rigorous ESG compliance audits under frameworks like CSRD. Worse, it actively drives up your weighted average cost of capital. You literally get financially penalized for the gap between what you build and what you claim.
To survive this and dodge institutional divestment, your growth engineering has to deploy substantiated messaging. Because institutional investors are using AI-driven audit tools now. And let me tell you, qualitative storytelling is dead. You need a verifiable record of impact. You've got to drop the flowery adjectives and use raw, verifiable data. Tag specific metrics, like methane intensity and tons of CO2 saved. You need to prep your infrastructure for ISSB mandatory digital tagging, which, by the way, already covers 60% of global GDP.
Okay, so to reconcile these physical assets and digital liabilities, organizations have to deploy industrial-scale digital transformation. That brings us to Directive 3, Commercial Infrastructure. If you're sitting there wondering why this transformation is so incredibly urgent, just look at the cost of inefficiency. Unplanned downtime costs top-tier global energy firms an estimated $490 million annually. When you're bleeding nearly $500 million a year, deploying advanced tech isn't optional anymore, it's a strict industrial necessity.
And how do you engineer that operational efficiency? By integrating the industrial metaverse. When you pair digital twins with real-time IoT sensors, firms are seeing an estimated $25 per barrel cost reduction. Those high-fidelity 3D representations of offshore platforms, they aren't just a flashy gimmick. They're the absolute foundation for predictive maintenance models. By 2026, we're expecting 85% of firms to adopt this simply because it provides the rock-solid proof packets operations leadership demands.
But hey, operational efficiency has to extend to how your buyers actually find you. Enter a critical new standard, Answer Engine Optimization, or AEO. Traditional search volumes are dropping by 25% because buyers are migrating to generative engines. AEO means actively re-engineering your technical white papers so they can be seamlessly ingested by LLMs and autonomous AI search agents.
But to do that right requires a deeper layer: context engineering. It's no longer enough to just hit publish. Your integrity management data has to be explicitly structured, so your technical capabilities are tagged as primary sources by AI models. Your content has to be engineered for portability and extreme accuracy if it's going to survive the rootless logic tests of complex EPC bids. And the crucial point here is preserving trust. That means conducting technical sincerity audits. You have to ruthlessly eliminate what the industry calls AI slop. Generic auto-generated filler will instantly destroy your professional credibility with engineering-led buying committees. Technical sincerity demands verified nominal loading, hyper-precise nomenclature, and deeply grounded industrial anecdotes. No fluff.
Now, even within this strict technical framework, the human element is still a major factor. We call this the rational emotional nexus, or REN, because in high-regret environments, where operational safety is literally on the line, pure specs aren't enough. Even the most analytical engineers require affective signals. They need to see proof of your problem-solving agility and rapid response capabilities to genuinely reduce their perceived risk.
Let's step back for a second and look at how this entire commercial infrastructure aligns with the explicit demands of your executive board. This is Directive 4, the evidence matrix. Think of this matrix as your strategic dossier. It maps your high-level stakeholders directly to their primary risk metrics and the specific engineered proof packets they need. Your CFO? They're sweating the valuation trap and demanding XIBR already financial tagging. The VP of Operations is fighting that $490 million asset downtime, so they need digital twin performance data. Your CPO demands supply chain integrity, and your growth engineers are laser-focused on pipeline contribution. It's about engineering multi-threaded consensus across the entire board.
Finally, our fifth directive. We have to translate this entire commercial infrastructure into a mathematical certainty, the predictable growth mathematics.
Take a look at the formula for marketing contribution to pipeline, or MCP. We're looking at the number of digitally sourced leads times average contract value times historical win rate, all divided by total commercial infrastructure spend. This equation definitively proves that securing a $100 to $500 million contract is an engineering problem. It is not a creative art.
This sets the benchmark you really should be demanding. A 5-to-1 return ratio? That's a solid, healthy baseline for B2B performance. But by teaming up with specialized AI-native partners who leverage rigorous context engineering, organizations are scaling that return to an 8-to-1 baseline. That is exactly how you transition from speculative spending to absolute predictable growth.
So the crucial point we arrive at today is a stark binary choice. Will your 2026 growth system rely on soft, speculative sales pitches, or are you going to upgrade to engineered, mathematical scalability? Let's be clear, manual lead nurturing is completely obsolete. You upgrade or you become a structural liability.
And that concludes our explainer briefing on the 2026 inflection point. The tools, the data, and the evidence are right in front of you. Project 54, Revenue Architecture, Engineered. The only question left is, are you ready to build what comes next, or will you just let your legacy model quietly disappear into the background?